Hi, I'm Jim Crescitelli with the Winter Garden Heritage Foundation, back for another Facebook Live interview. And tonight our special guests are Fred and Sue Crabtree, who have been doing business in the area for decades. I'm going to hear a little bit about that. It's very fascinating, the family legacy regarding marine, and well, we'll let them talk about those details. But we wanted to have these business folks in because our latest exhibit here at the Winter Garden Heritage Museum is called West Orange County at Work. And it basically is a testimony to all the folks who worked in citrus, in small manufacturing, in stores, at the docks, on the fishing boats, on the railroads, all the people that worked to make West Orange County the very special place that it is. And we're going to let Fred and Sue tell their story because it ties right in with the story of West Orange County, Winter Garden in particular. So, thank you folks for coming up.
Thank you.
Thank you for inviting us.
A few people recommended talk to the Crabtrees regarding the Kerr family's marine, sometimes I just lose my words, marine business, but I would let you give us some details about how it all started. How it all started with Sue's mother and father, correct? Mm-hmm. And I think you mentioned that it was almost 60 years ago.
Yes.
That they started, and did they come here from someplace?
They both met at the University of Miami, which is where my dad played football. They met there, and then they moved here, and they lived here the rest of their lives.
Okay. Did they started the business pretty soon after coming here?
Yeah. Well, he was in the boat business before he was in the tool business.
Okay. But he tied the two of them together.
He started as a Johnson outboard dealer at the little shop down on Plant Street. And it was a marine and sports equipment company at that time. He did sell some sporting goods, sold a lot of fishing tackle and fishing equipment, and sold outboard motors. And at that stage of the marine industry, there were no training schools from the factories, no vocational schools to teach people how to do it. So he would, after dinner at night, he would come down and go in the back of that building and tear engines down, little engines, and put them back together to teach himself how to repair outboard motors. And that's how he got started in the marine business.
Was that a different spot than the business they eventually opened on East Plant Street?
It was on East.
No,
East,
that was
it. That was it.
That was the original.
That was the original, right there. Yes.
And we have a photo of that you all shared with us today, which was pretty fascinating. It's got wooden boats piled up outside.
He made wooden cypress wooden boats.
Cypress.
And sold them to fishing camps around Lake Apopka.
Now that's the thing that fascinates me, is that there were so many fishing camps around the lake. I mean, the largemouth bass capital of the world.
Yes.
So business, they must have sold a lot of boats, people coming here. Did he rent them also?
No, he sold them, but the fishing camps around the lake did rent the boats.
Okay.
So, but he manufactured them and sold them.
Wow, built them right there on the premises.
Right there on the premises.
Wow, was this a big shop?
No, it was not much bigger than this building.
Wow.
Very small. Had a front showroom, and the back was a service area that opened up on the back street. And that's where he did the service work back there.
And he was the gentleman who, his name was?
Bob Kerr, Robert M. Kerr.
Bob Kerr, Robert M. Kerr. He's the gentleman who came up with that device you were explaining to me that he patented to lift.
Over the years, the engines got so big and so heavy. And he, of course, got up in age, and he had a bad back from injury at the University of Miami. And he got a couple of hernias, and he couldn't lift the engines anymore. So he started designing equipment for his own use to make it easier for him to work on outboard motors. And what he did is he made devices to hold various parts of the engine while he could work on them, because on an outboard there's not anything symmetrical that you can put in a vise.
True.
So you either had to lay it on the floor or on a bench and roll it around. So he designed fixtures to hold them in place so that you had both hands free to work on the outboards. And that's how he got started making that. He was still in the marine business at that time. And one of the engine manufacturer's service representatives came into his shop to call on him from Johnson Motors and saw what he was doing. And it was basically scrap iron, if you could have seen what he put together.
Wow.
And they told him, this is neat. Nobody anywhere makes anything like this, and the industry very much needs something like this. We encourage you to start building this kind of stuff. And her dad said, I can't make a living with this scrap iron. And the next thing you knew, they invited him to Waukegan, Illinois, to bring those pieces of material with him. And he said he was so embarrassed, he went into the chairman of the board of Outboard Marine Corporation. He said the carpet was about ankle deep, and his man's name was Art Sauerberg, and he said he laid that junk on the floor. And Mr. Sauerberg told him, Mr. Kerr, we have no interest in building anything like this. We're in the outboard motor business. But if you will do this, we will help you promote it. But he said it's probably going to take you 5 to 7 years to get known. But we will do everything we can to help you. And that's how it got started.
Wow. And then he patented that device.
He patented several of them. This is the oldest patent here from 1967. And it's a device to hold lower units and to hold power heads in place while a service person works on it.
Yep, 1960. And you were saying that item, which is pictured here, the diagram is here, was actually, it worked to hold different style motors.
Yes.
Because they're all built a little bit differently.
Everything that he designed and everything we've designed in later years is universal, so that it fits multiple engines and motors. And so if you're Evinrude dealer, or if you're a Mercury dealer or a Yamaha dealer, the same fixture is adjustable or adaptable to that particular engine. So you don't have to have a specific tool for that specific manufacturer.
Motor, right?
So it's
Yeah,
a
that
universal
was
tool.
smart. That was good thinking.
And he had 8, 9 patents over the years.
All to
probably.
do with marine
All
equipment.
marine.
Yeah.
We call them marine tools.
Marine
But
tools.
it's really marine service equipment. So.
Okay. I couldn't believe when you told me earlier that, what do I know? An engine is, a motor is in the water, it floats, looks like it's floating, but 800 pounds, that's...
The new 4-strokes, 300 horsepower engines weigh in excess of 800 pounds.
Wow.
And so you can imagine what the marine dealers today are faced with in handling this kind of weight and piece of equipment. So we've increased the size and the strength of what we make to accommodate these bigger and heavier engines. So we're evolving as the industry evolves.
Yeah, sure. Do you manufacture here in town, or is
Everything is made locally.
Wow.
Everything is
really?
local. It always has been, and it's still all local.
Wow.
So, and we ship all over the world.
It's a lot bigger than the small place that you all started at, right?
Well, right now we sub everything out. So we have subcontractors building in their facilities.
Ah, gotcha.
And we do the shipping and some assembly and that kind of thing. But most of the manufacturing is done by a subcontractor now. For years we did it until probably 2000 or later?
Somewhere around there.
Around 2000,
Wow.
we started subbing everything out.
Yeah.
So, but
Bigger engines, more space needed.
yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Different machinery.
So
This is latest catalog.
that's the latest catalog, and we make everything from lower unit holders, power head holders, some pulling devices, prop pullers. We make motor carts. We make water tanks to run them in. That unit on the back there is for stern drive.
Dolly.
Dollies to install and remove a stern drive from the back of a boat. And that one I have a patent on. In fact, I have
yourself, yeah?
I have a patent on that one and this one. Everything else her dad has patents on. So.
That is something. And worldwide sales.
Yes.
Oh, you were telling me, you mentioned that, ironically, during the year of COVID, that business boomed because...
It did, and we were surprised because all of a sudden we were just bombarded with orders from everywhere, and we finally figured that, and we heard from marine dealers that people were using their boats and motors more to get out in the fresh air because they were stranded at home. They couldn't go to the restaurant. They couldn't go out to do anything. So they enjoyed the outdoor fresh air.
Made sense.
And the marine industry had a boom.
Made sense.
So
When you all had the business on East Plant, this was kind of boom times for Winter Garden when
Yes.
Plant Street was lined with businesses. And you always hear about people sharing ideas and just basically working together to keep the town going and busy and, you know, business-wise. I always get that impression. It wasn't just this business was its own and this business was its own. Everyone kind of worked together and helped
We
each
did
other
work
out.
together.
but it was a small community, and everybody knew everybody, and everybody worked together.
You always
It
hear
was a
things.
citrus town, agricultural town. As a
Yeah.
matter of fact, in the early days, when we had a place out on Highway 50 in the beginning, and just her dad and I, and her mother and Sue, and when we would finish equipment to ship out and box it up, we brought it to this very building right here because Railway Express was our shipper.
Wow,
And
sure.
we would put it on the platform out here, and the train would come and pick it up and deliver it to wherever it was going.
Yeah, we all know that the train ran through here,
It
but
did.
and we see photos of these giant engines in front of the Edgewater Hotel. It must have been so just convenient. Here's the train right in the middle of the city. Here's our stuff.
To this day, I still love to hear a train whistle.
Yeah.
And I'll hear
That's a
one
nice
about 2:30 in the morning somewhere.
Oh yeah, probably. Yeah, east side.
On
They
the
go
east
into the
side.
Yeah, they
cement
go
plant, yeah.
the drainage pipe company out
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
They
yeah,
pick up
yeah.
and deliver material. out
Florida
there.
Midland, the little
Yeah,
red
well,
train comes
yeah.
through. Yeah, yeah, it's
But,
nice.
but back to how it got started with her mother and dad, we would work like crazy to build whatever equipment we could afford to buy material for, and then they would put it in a pickup truck, her mother and dad, and they would travel around the country and sell out of the back of that pickup truck.
Wow.
That's how he got known to marine dealers. He went directly to them, no middleman, and he sold it out of the back of a pickup truck, and they'd be gone maybe for a couple weeks on the road till he sold all of it. He'd come back, we'd build it again and do it again. So
Beach
that's-
communities and lake
yeah,
communities,
yeah,
I guess.
Yeah, all the marinas around, he would try to pick areas that had more marine places, like on the water or a river or lake
Yeah,
or
the
whatever.
Great
So,
Lakes,
yeah.
New England,
So
Finger Lakes,
yeah.
Missouri.
Finger Lakes up
Missouri,
New York. Yeah.
So,
Wow.
but that's kind of how it got started, and whatever. It's been a long ride.
It's still going.
Yeah,
It's
still
still
going,
going.
still going, still
Yeah.
family owned.
Our daughter is our general manager, Karen,
Karen.
and she is probably the best customer service rep anybody could have.
Nice.
She deals with the customers, and
Yep.
she makes them happy.
The face to face. Yeah.
But we still don't have a middleman. We manufacture and sell direct. We don't have any distributors, and that way we can try to maintain the cost rather than another markup in between. So,
Yeah, exactly.
So that was helpful in the
Stay
beginning to
competitive.
be able to do that.
To learn it from the ground up,
and
you can
yeah,
control that.
yeah,
Yeah.
so.
Plus quality too. You see everything that
Yeah,
goes in and
yeah.
out. You're not just not seeing it.
No, we see it all.
Yeah, that's great. It reminds me sort of, Hall Pounds, who did along the same lines with agricultural equipment. He was innovative and an inventor, quiet guy, they said, who just came up with ways to make farming better. And
Right.
you all are basically doing the same thing to make things convenient and easy to fix. Yeah, yeah, I would say.
I mean, it's a unique company, and it's small, basically, because we're still basically the only company in the United States that does this, that makes a complete line of everything.
Wow.
There are a few companies here and there that make a various tool or part or whatever, but Nobody makes a complete line like we do. We had a competitor in the state of Washington that built water tanks, and now they're out of business, so we're getting a lot more orders from the West Coast because of that. So.
Those are water tanks for?
Water tanks to run an outboard engine in. When a service guy needs to service an engine, he needs to crank it back up and see if it's running, and rather than have to take it to the lake and run the boat, he can put it in the water tank at his facility and crank it up and run it right there to make sure that, and if it's not doing what it needs to do, he's got all his equipment and tools there. Yes, that's what
we call them test tanks.
We call them test tanks.
And you make them to fit. Well, those are big.
Yeah, they're
They're
big.
all different sizes.
Yeah, they're all different sizes. One there's 3 feet by 10 feet. There's 5 feet by 5 feet, 4 by 5, 3 by 5. So they're all big water tanks.
And they've got to withstand the fact that propellers are going around. I'm sounding naive. I got 500
gallons of water in them.
Wow.
So yeah.
What are the plans for the future? Just keep working, keep going, keep being
working.
Successful.
I don't know, Jim. I said I wanted to quit a long time ago, and here I am, 80 years old, and I'm still doing it.
No reason. There was a page. There's an Orange County Atlas. I forget the publisher. Late 40s, early 50s, and there's a page of with ads, like they'd sell ads to pay for the printing, and there's Kerr boat place.
Yeah.
Kerr Marine.
Kerr Marine Tool. And then there's another one.
R.A. Kerr, electrician.
Was he?
He was my dad's brother.
Okay. Did he
There
do
were
the
4
same
of
things
them.
along the lines of electricity, maybe? The same kind of innovative ideas, or?
Well, Mr. Kerr, her dad, his family originally was from Illinois, and they were all electricians and plumbers. And when he was a small child, they moved to Ocoee. And his dad continued the electric business, and 3 of his there was 4 brothers. The other 3 brothers.
There's 3 brothers.
Three brothers, other than Mr. Kerr. Everett was in Key West as an electrician. Elmer was in Ocoee as an electrician, and Raleigh was in Winter Garden as an electrician. And her dad decided not to be an electrician. He wanted to get into something else. But in the electrical days way back during the war, he and his brother worked for a manufacturer in Miami, and they actually wired and installed the first sonar equipment in a submarine. They didn't know what they were doing. They were given prints and put to work.
Gee.
And so he's got quite a history going way back.
It's amazing how people just figure things out.
Yeah. Her dad was extremely bright and innovative in making things and not reinventing things. He would use existing parts to make what he wanted to make, so he didn't have to do everything. He was a really bright man, really bright man. I learned a lot from him.
It's nice to hear such good talk about a father-in-law, right? Yeah, that's good.
He was good to me, and we got along very well. We spent a lot of days together.
Yeah.
My
And
dad
back in
and
the
Fred
early
were very close.
back in the early days when there's just the 2 of us working, and the girls didn't know it, but if we finished early in the day, we would get the fishing boat and go to the lake, and then we got home in time for dinner.
There you go. Test out those boats.
But you know, that was back in the day when you worked 6 days a week, and he'd go to work at 8 in the morning and be home at 6 at night. 6 days a week. He'd be off on Sunday.
Yeah.
And he was a hard-working man. My mother was too. She worked with him. So
She was running the office.
she ran the
Payroll,
office, did
billing,
all the paperwork.
Yeah. The fun stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been interesting. I didn't know as much as I should about the company and the family, so this has been
most
very
people don't,
nice.
because it's a small company. It's unique. It's
Yeah.
not something
Yeah, it
that's
definitely
mainline.
sounds
It's
like
just it has its own unique use, and it's just not something that you would see. You don't see it in a store. You
Right.
can't order it online through Amazon.
Right.
And it's
right.
just, it's unique.
And you do all, it's word of mouth and trusted customers who reorder government?
Well,
government,
most of our orders now come
contracts?
through the internet and over the phone.
Wow.
Yeah,
Just by people recommending.
yeah.
The name.
And all of
The
the
name.
all of the engine manufacturers, Yamaha, Mercury, Johnson, Evinrude, they
Suzuki.
have our equipment in their service training centers.
Mm-hmm.
So when a person goes to be trained to work on an outboard, they're trained on our equipment,
Wow.
and they give our brochures out. So when they get out of their training school, who do they call? I mean, if they're going in business, they've got to have equipment. So they still help us promote it that
Very
way.
wise.
And
Yeah,
it's
in
just a
way,
good
sure.
partnership.
It sounds
Helps
like
them,
it.
helps them in the quality of service for their dealers,
Mm-hmm.
and it keeps us in business.
Yeah. Do you ever go boating yourselves? Do you ever take a boat out?
We don't have time.
You're too busy, right? I was going to say, what about, Lake Apopka? Is boating coming back? I mean, I know a little bit, yeah, but how's the
I think
feel
it
for
is.
it?
I think it is. It's going to take a long time, I think.
Yeah.
But I think they're doing a good job of trying to clean it
yeah.
up.
It's much cleaner than it used to be.
Yes.
When I was a kid, it was clean. I can remember fishing down there and catching just
Yeah.
all kinds of panfish.
But we still wouldn't swim in it.
No, we wouldn't swim in it.
Gators?
No,
Gators.
the water still wasn't that pure,
Little
except out of
mucky.
the spring. If you went out of
Yeah.
the springs, it was.
Down
Yeah,
in
we'd swim
Gord
in the
Lake.
spring.
Yeah.
So,
I took I've mentioned it on camera a couple of times in different aspects. Took a kayak trip out there with Friends of Lake Apopka through Oakland Nature Preserve, and put your arm in the water, and you could see your arm, so it's clear, it doesn't smell, and after a while you realize you're paddling on giant Lake Apopka, and it's a little unnerving, but you don't go out in the middle.
No.
It's pretty close to shore, not where the alligators are, but what an experience it is.
yeah.
And we saw a few boats, and it was kind of nice.
Got a beautiful shoreline. You know,
Yeah.
it's a great lake. It just
It
needs
is.
to come back to
Yeah,
a really pristine lake.
yeah, they're doing a good job. There's nothing going in it anymore.
No.
Of course, we just lost Jim Thomas, who was,
Yes.
but he's trained and so many people. He's helped so many people follow his legacy. So
He had a dream, and he worked at it. He
Yeah.
worked at it.
What a guy!
Yep.
What a guy! Yeah. Well, I hope to see the lake full of boats one day, thoughtfully. Nice.
I do
nice.
too.
Yeah, nice. That'd be
That
great.
would be nice.
More fish camps along the edges. That'd be great. Yeah. And I wanted to ask about your son. Tell me about that Jimmy Crabtree Cancer Fund for people who may not be aware of it, but I think everybody is.
Our middle child, Jimmy, was married and had 2 children, and he developed liver cancer. And from the time he was diagnosed till he passed, it was like 8 months. And during that time, he wanted to reach out and help other people because he was seeing what the cost was for
Sure.
cancer patients. Even with good insurance and that kind of thing, you still doesn't cover all the medications. So he and his wife, Lori, talked about it, and so when he passed, we as a family decided we would carry that on. And it's the best thing that's ever happened to our family, I think.
Oh, nice.
Not losing Jimmy, but what we've done since then.
Yeah.
And we have fundraisers, and we've raised almost $400,000 that we've contributed to cancer patients locally.
That's wonderful.
And we'll be helping our 92nd recipient next week.
Wow. How long has this been in
Uh,
existence?
Jimmy passed in 2011.
Okay, so it's about 10 years.
About 10 years.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow. That's great. And like we were talking about earlier, so many folks who have businesses or have worked and worked and worked and worked in Winter Garden for decades, there's always an outreach to the community through some channel. And this is like a perfect example of people, okay, we're doing well. Maybe we're not feeling too well. We've got challenges, but we're going to figure out a way to help other people down the line. I hear this a lot
And
locally.
this community has
Yeah.
helped us.
Yeah,
I mean, we have great support.
it's very well knit together. I
This is a
gotta say.
community effort. It's not just the Crabtrees. It's community. West Orange community. It's where we raise our money and we give the money back to West Orange area.
Yeah,
So
it's admirable. You can feel it too. So many people.
we've met a lot of nice people. We've had some great success stories with our recipients, and we've had some heartbreaks, and that's just the
Sure.
type of disease it is. So,
Sure.
but it's been a blessing to our family to be able to help other families.
Yeah.
And we have worked closely with the hospitals, with Orlando Health and Advent Health, and also Florida Cancer and Research Institute. They've all been supportive. They send us people for us to assist
That's nice. That's a
that
big
follow our
network.
guidelines.
Yeah.
So, we know we're helping in the right way.
Right.
We
That's
have
great.
very little overhead. We pay Derek Blakesley to do our accounting, our tax
Derek,
report,
sure.
and we pay a lady to do our QuickBooks, which is a minimal amount.
Yeah.
And so we have no overhead. We don't draw any money. The family, nobody gets anything monetarily
nice.
out of it. It all goes back to the community,
That's nice.
absent expenses for our events and what have you, of course. But the net
Sure.
money goes back to recipients.
Probably sounds like the major bulk of it. So y'all watching this and who check it out later, you easily look up the Jimmy Crabtree Cancer Fund on Facebook, and you can find out about events and fundraisers and find out how you can contribute to this really beautiful, worthy cause. It keeps him going,
Thank
going
you.
on.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I think
Thank you
it's
so
great.
much.
Yeah. Anything else you wanted to add about the business or your lives?
No, I just think we're very fortunate to live in this community, and we have a lot of old friends, not necessarily aged old, but longtime friends. And I think it's a blessing to be
Yeah.
here.
It's nice. And Sue, you've been with the Bloom and Grow Garden Society,
Yes.
associated with them years and years and years. Yeah, we always say, well, maybe I only say this, if you want to get something done in Winter Garden, call the ladies of the Bloom and Grow Garden Society.
That's right. They're a good group.
They really are, yeah. Sounds like you've got a lot of good things going on. That's good. It was a pleasure to talk with both of you.
Well, we appreciate
Glad to have
the
you here at the
invitation.
museum. And thank you for sharing the photo. That's nice. And yeah, I will just say thank you to our audience. Stop by the museum. Through mid-February, we'll have West Orange County at Work, this wonderful display that we have worked on that you'll appreciate. It's almost completely done. We're writing some more descriptive cards. And the exhibit is basically about the people who worked to make this town what it is in so many ways. And you'll see when you come and visit. And the museum is open from Tuesdays through Saturdays, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. No, 3 p.m., 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. That's the Heritage Museum, the Central Florida Railroad Museum, and the Winter Garden Heritage Foundation History, Research, and Education Center next door, the new brick building, which is also open 11 to 3, Tuesdays through Saturdays. So we'll help you out either way, and you could delve into our archive and do research, which has been fed and nourished by folks like the Crabtrees who share items and their family history, and you can find out more about yours as well. So I think we'll say have a wonderful, safe, healthy Thanksgiving, you and your family, and
Thank
you
you.
all too. Have a wonderful, safe Thanksgiving, and we'll see you next time. Thank you very much.